Welcome to another anime recap. This show is about how a middle-aged high school student gets caught in the world of curses and makes a choice which will leave his life hanging by thread. Will he be able to live in this new world of curses and at the same time battle the huge new impact he has? Keep watching. So the show begins and we see Yuji, a young high school student, waking up while chained to a chair. Sitting in front of him is a man named Gojo, who introduces himself as the head of the Jujutsu high school freshman class. In a flashback from the previous day, Yuji attends the school's occult club meeting at the request of his hospitalized grandfather, only to discover that he's been enrolled in the track team instead. The team's coach asks Yuji to help them win the national championship. Meanwhile, Megumi disguises herself and continues her hunt for the cursed object. As Megumi gets closer to Yuji, he senses cursed energy in him, but before he can reach him, Yuji runs to the hospital to see his grandfather, who gives him the symbolic message before he dies. The old man asks Yuji to use his powers to help others so that he can die surrounded by people. Shortly after the grandfather dies, Yuji is approached by Megumi in the lobby after mourning his grandfather's death. Megumi says that curses are caused by a negative energy and reveal the true nature of the cursed object. Yuji's curse thing is extremely deadly because it is sealed with talismans. He removes the contents of the box and hands it to the other members of the occult group, while handing the empty box to Megumi. The members of the club plan to remove the seal at the school that night. Yuji is warned by Megumi that his friends are in danger. Sasaki and Eguchi unwrap the seal at school and discover a chopped-off finger inside. Unexpectedly, curses begin to appear, unbeknownst to the students. Yuji and Megumi immediately sense the strange energy. Megumi fights the curses with his divine dogs inside the building. After some hesitation, Yuji realizes that he is afraid of death, but remembers his grandfather's comments about helping others. As the curses multiply, Megumi and his divine dogs fight to save the students. Yuji smashes a window to save his companions. A curse attacks Megumi as he approaches to retrieve the cursed object. Megumi sacrifices herself to save Yuji and is captured as a result. Yuji tries to break the curse, but realizes that he can't fight back without the cursed energy. He almost puts his finger into the curse's mouth, but catches it with his own mouth and decides to eat it to get the cursed energy. Yuji acquires Sukuna Ryoma's power after eating the finger and makes his way to test the newly cursed Yuji. Megumi wants to exorcise Yuji since he believes he is a curse, but before Megumi can act, Gojo arrives to check on him. To Gojo's amazement, Yuji reveals that he ate a cursed finger from a box, leading Gojo to believe that Yuji is merged with Sukuna, a terrible curse. Gojo instructs Yuji to switch with Sukuna for 10 seconds to test his control. Despite Sukuna's attacks, Gojo dodges and counters with ease while also stunning Megumi with his unseen abilities. Yuji eventually regains control of his body, much to everyone's surprise. Gojo decides to knock Yuji out and informs Megumi that if he wakes up as himself, he has the potential to be Sukuna's vessel. Yuji is locked in a room covered with seals while Gojo reveals that the elders wanted to execute him, but he was able to convince them to postpone the execution since he recognized Yuji's potential as an agent for Sukuna, which is valuable for Jujutsu technology. They decided to postpone the execution until Yuji has eaten all 20 of his fingers. Later, Yuji visits two buddies in the hospital and tells them that his sorcerer is coming to treat them. He then meets Gojo, who talks about the terrible fate that often follows people with curses. They go to a morgue where Yuji retrieves his grandfather's ashes and eats another cursed finger, demonstrating his ability to control Sukuna. Gojo tells Yuji to pack his things because of his decision. Megumi, who has healed from her injuries, joins them and they bid farewell to Yuji's late grandfather. They travel to the Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical School, one of the leading Jujutsu institutions in the country. In order for Yuji to be admitted to the school, he must go through an interview with the principal, who has the power to order his execution. Sukuna threatens Gojo through Yuji's skin, but Gojo declares himself stronger. They then encounter Yaga, who tests Yuji's ambition and determination by attacking him with a cursed corpse doll. Realizing his desire to stop Sukuna and live without regret, Yuji manages to impress Yaga and is admitted to the school. Gojo invites Yuji to his dormitory, explaining that with Sukuna inside him, he might be able to investigate and track down the other cursed fingers. They run into Megumi, who is said to live nearby. There, Gojo expresses his thoughts about adding another first-year student named Nobara to their group. Nobara takes the train to Tokyo Jujutsu Tech. Yuji and Megumi are sent to greet her, so they wait outside the station for her arrival. Gojo also shows up and compliments Yuji on his new outfit, which she had made especially for him. The group eventually runs into Nobara, who introduces herself and brags about being the only female in their group. Gojo takes Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara to an abandoned building near a cemetery where a curse has been cast. Now Gojo reveals that the structure is a field test for Nobara and Yuji. He offers Yuji the cursed slaughter demon tool and forbids him to use Sukuna's ability since it can take over Yuji's intrusive thoughts. Yuji is the first victim on the cursed spirit's onslaught. He takes Gojo's words and uses the cursed tool to slay the curse instead of letting Sukuna exercise his body. Meanwhile, Elmer comes face to face with a cursed corpse masquerading as a mannequin. She hammers and nails its face, pushing the curse to unveil itself. As the curse manifests strength derived from human emotions, Nabra's experience is questioned. She finally defeats it and discovers a secret child. When the curse kidnaps the child, Nabra gives herself up without a second thought to save the child. But just as the curse is about to kill the infant, Yuji appears, cuts off the curse's arm, and saves the infant. Nabra uses her straw doll technique to train the curse with a nail in her straw doll. After defeating the curses, Nabra thanks Yuji for his courage and determination in defeating the curses so effortlessly. Kitataka Ajiki, the assistant manager of Tokyo Jujutsu High, transports the three freshmen, Yuji, Megumi, and Nabra to a detention center where a cursed worm has been discovered. Ajiki explains the concept of a special class to Yuji and tells them that if they encounter one, their only alternatives are to flee or die. They realize that they have entered the innate domain of a curse as they continue to investigate the detention center. A curse pulls Nobra through the ground and reveals that Megumi's divine dog has been killed. Megumi realizes that they have to flee. They are met by the special class cursed ghost. Yuji, immobilized by fear, tries to attack it, but loses his grip and breaks his knife. Meanwhile, Nabra is stranded in a zone filled with mass curses. Megumi escapes with the help of Nu the Shikigami and sets out to find Nobra and bring her back. Yuji tries to ask Sukuna for help, but is rebuffed. A special curse attacks them, and Yuji shakes Megumi out of his sleep, urging him to keep searching for Nobra. Megumi finds and saves Nobra, while Yuji, realizing that he is emotionally and physically weak, feels that he will most likely die. However, his desperation makes him realize that he must channel his bad feelings into his fist. Yugosai strikes back at the special grade with an enhanced fist powered by cursed energy, giving Megumi enough time to escape with Nobra. Megumi safely reunites with Ajichi and begs him to get a grade 1 sorcerer, while he stays to deal with Yuji, just in case Sukuna gets out of hand. Sukuna eventually takes control of Yuji's body and easily defeats the special curse. Sukuna triggers his domain expansion and shatters the curse, regaining the affected worm's finger. Sukuna insists that Yuji regain control, but when he doesn't get an answer, he grins mischievously, hinting that Yuji is gone, leaving Sukuna to take over the body. Megumi is waiting outside the detention center when he notices that the power of the cursed worm has diminished. While he waits for Yuji, Sukuna enters and tells him that Yuji will not be returning. Sukuna accuses Yuji of abusing his power without a deal and reveals that he ripped out Yuji's heart to hold him hostage. Sukuna chews on another of Yuji's fingers to strengthen his control over Yuji's body. Megumi summons Nu of his snake to attack Sukuna, but the tables are turned when Sukuna overpowers Nu and tears him to pieces. Sukuna praises Megumi's technique and wonders why he fled instead of facing the cursed worm. He decides to save people regardless of equality because he believes in them. He also says that he saved Yuji despite his doubts because he didn't want to see a wonderful person die. Upon hearing this, Yuji regains control of his body. As he slowly dies, he wishes Megumi a long life. Despite the cursed belief that Yuji is dead, Sukuna's residual existence remains in his body. Even though Yuji is most likely dead, his spirit continues to reside in Sukuna's innate domain. Meanwhile, Gojo laments Yuji's death to Ajikichi. He wants to raise sorcerers with progressive beliefs to change the broken Jujutsu community. Luckily for him, Yuji reappears and unburdens his guilty heart. Meanwhile, in a random restaurant, an evil sorcerer named Subaru and Jogo plot to kill Gojo with the help of cursed ghosts. They consider using the prison realm, a special class of cursed object. Jogo gets excited about the concept and sets fire to a diner, burning everyone inside. He then reveals his plan to take over the prison realm and kill Gojo himself. On the other side, Megumi apologizes to Tadashi's mother for not being able to save him in the cursed WM operation. Afterwards, he goes through the combat training with the other students. Megumi and Nobra focus on close combat techniques, while Gojo personally trains Yuji on how to balance Sukuna's cursed energy so that it doesn't take over his body. Gojo tells Yuji that while he cannot master a cursed technique, he can channel the cursed energy into his fists. Since Yuji has difficulty bringing it to the surface, Gojo suggests that he suppress his negative feelings by watching movies. Yuji gets distracted while watching movies and is attacked by the cursed doll. Before leaving him, Gojo tells him to stay focused. Gojo and Ajiki are on their way to see the headmaster when Gojo notices something unusual. He tells Ajiki to stop the car and drop him off, which leaves Ajiki perplexed. Just then a cursed ghost named Jogo arrives and tries to attack Gojo. Will Gojo be able to fend off this curse, or will we see something new? You will find out in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.